Our next guest is Jonathan Berry, Viscount Jonathan Berry, in the UK. He was the first Undersecretary of State for Artificial Intelligence in the UK under Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and now he is the Shadow Minister. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence and its threat to the world. Let's watch the recording. Thank you. Welcome back to Around the World with Dane Waters. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm very honored to have with us Jonathan. Jonathan, tell us about you. Tell us how you know about AI and why this is so important to you.
Right. Okay. I'm a member of the House of Lords here in the UK. My party's the opposition spokesman, the shadow minister for science and technology in the House of Lords, and prior to that, I was the minister for AI in the previous government under Rishi Sunak. But I've kind of studied, known a bit about AI for a very long time. I took my first course in AI in 1999 over in the States, actually, at Carnegie Mellon. I've kind of been knocking around the area off and on for a good long time. And even as a child, I was absolutely fascinated by the whole subject, mostly inspired by the movie 2001, but also obviously by Asimov and others. I feel it's one of those things that I've always been interested by, and then suddenly the whole world is absolutely fascinated by AI. So interesting times for good and bad.
It's interesting you say that as well because I'm like you. I mean, I watched 2001: Space Odyssey, all these shows, and then it seems like just like 2 or 3 years ago, people were talking about more about AI, and I was like, it's not going to happen, not going to happen. And suddenly, it is everywhere. You can't do anything without AI. And I have to admit, I use AI like Chat GPT to do messages and stuff. I mean, in some ways, it's great, but it kind of makes me a little lazy, brain-wise. But let's talk about. I mean, really, what I want to get to is, there are a lot of positives about AI. I mean, a lot of great things. It does help us all work better and things of this nature. But let's talk a little bit about the dangers of it, both from a political standpoint and international. Does AI concern you? Let's just start at this point. Does AI concern you internationally and how it could be used by what I'll call rogue actors?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the short answer is yeah, it really does concern me. So when I think about it from a kind of what should political leaders be thinking about AI, there's really, I think there are three kind of publicly espoused goals that everybody gets behind. So the first one is make governments and the machinery of government work more productively. I think everybody can work with that. Great. Second, inject a great deal of growth through new productivity into the economy, and I think we could all welcome that. And third, do all of those things in a way that keeps us safe and does not disrupt us in an unhealthy and unhelpful way, but disrupt us in a healthy and good way. So I think those are uncontroversial, but there is a fourth goal that I think is much more controversial, but is slightly unavoidable, which is that, to put it as Vladimir Putin put it, the country or the organization that invents the AGI, the super intelligent AGI, will go on to become the most powerful country or company anywhere. Now, just the possibility of that guides our behavior more than we would ideally like. So you might say, no, we're a peaceful country. We don't want to dominate the world. We just want to have all those good things. But you can't sort of really ignore that fourth goal because you don't want anybody else to achieve that fourth goal either. So I think it sort of is behind a lot of behaviors that we see globally, and is behind the fact that we're not really globally collaborating as effectively as we need to be to keep frontier AI, the future risks of AI, from harming us, which is a very long-winded answer to your question, but I hope helpful.
No, it is very helpful because this is where we all have to understand, once again, as we were talking about, there are good parts of AI and then there's scary parts of AI. And so on to go further down the rabbit hole of the scary part of AI. I mean, like in the United States, I mean, there's just a lot of controversy about limiting research into AI, limiting what AI can do, um, while the bad actors, once again, like Putin and others, are not having limitations. I don't know what's happening here in the UK with talk of limitations, but do you think that limiting research on AI kind of is detrimental long term?
I I don't see how you could do it. Is problem. I mean, I understand why that is desirable. I just don't think that. I mean, that it would be a classic case of game theory, right? And your payoff matrix looks pretty grim. I mean, yes, if everybody agrees